So here we are. Now we're looking at rotation. So rotation is the name of the game, rotation. How are we going to do that? Well, there's a couple things. First of all, if we're doing 90 degrees, you're going to swap x and y. That's worth remembering. Swap x and y. And one of them is negative, one of them is positive. It really depends on which way you go. So we'll look at the quadrants for that. If you're doing 180 degrees, however, that's almost easier. You just switch the sign. So the numbers stay where they are, but you switch positive to negative and negative to positive. So let's see this point here. We're at -1, +3. Well, that's going to change to 1, -3. That was a piece of cake. You just kind of go on the other side and down here. It's almost like a double reflection, in fact. All right, so z is at, so this is going to become m prime, you could say. Z is at -2, 0. Well, that's going to turn into, let's see, 0, -2? No, 0, 2. Wait, how's that work? That we're at -2, 0. How do I change the sign of 0? I guess I don't. So that stays the same, but this becomes 2, 0. So that'd just be 2, 0 right there. And then L is at -3, 2. So -3, 2 is going to become +3, -2. There's my 3 points. Let's put them together. So we got boom, boom, boom. Now let's, as far as what is what. So z became z prime, and we got m is m prime. Now L is L prime. Done. That was a piece of cake. So 180 degrees would be the same for this one. Let's go to one that's maybe, well, actually this one's just got 4 pieces to it. Remember, you just, for 180 degrees, you just switch the sign. Plus goes to minus, minus goes to plus. That's it. But let's look at one that's like a 90-degree turn. So here we go. We'll scroll down just a little bit. Number 66 right there. Counterclockwise about the origin, 90 degrees. Sweet. Okay, so what does that mean for us? 90 degrees counterclockwise. So if we were to label our quadrants here, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're mostly kind of in 3 here. So then we're going to like kind of transfer into 4. Well, let's do H and B first. Those are at, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, -3, and -4 there. -3, -3. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So -3, -3 is going to turn into 3, 3 here. -4, -3. Here's where it gets a little more interesting. You swap. So -4, -3 turns into something with a 3 and a 4, but we just got to figure out, are there any negatives? In fact, there are. -4 should be negative, but 3 should stay positive. So we're going down here. Right there. So there's my B prime, you could say, and there's my H prime. Okay, now it gets crazy confusing because this J is going to rotate into here, and this A is going to rotate to there. How do we know that? Well, oh no, it's not. It's going to go to here. Oh my gosh, this is even crazier. J is at -2, 2, so those are going to swap places, but we're going to be out to -2, 2, let's see, -2, 2. If we're going to rotate counterclockwise about the origin. So we're here, now we're going here. Wow, this is craziness, but here's the lines that we would connect. So there's one, there's another, there's this one, and then this one, and that's a pretty crazy shape to rotate. So let's make a list then of all the things we changed. So -4, -3 was 3 to 4, and then another one was -3, -3 turned into 3, -3. And then what else did we have? We had 1, 0 for A right here, turned into 0, 1. That one was kind of weird because that positive, or that sign change from the negative to the positive actually didn't really change because 0 doesn't have a sign. All right, and then J was at negative 2, 2. Well, that middle number comes over here but becomes negative. But then the other one just comes over to the end, and that's still negative. So that was kind of a weird change too, just because the numbers were similar. So there we go. Those were the 4 digits that we changed. Let's do another one. How about 67? Because that's kind of similar. So let's take our drawing off here, scroll down to that. 67. All right, so I'm looking at 67 right now. And it says clockwise about the origin, so that means I'm going this way. So mostly I'm up here in quadrant 1, but I'm going to make my way over to quadrant 4. So that means this AC here, that's at 3, 1 and 3, 2. So 3, 1, that's going to swap. We're going to get a 1, 3, but 3 is going to be negative. So remember, for a 90 degrees, you're going to swap x and y, and then you got to check your plus or minus stuff. So swap x and y. And 3, 2 turns into 2, negative 3. All right, so we got 1, negative 3 and 2, negative 3. That's our C and our A. So that's C prime and A prime, you could say. All right, let's do it. We got G and H. Those are at 3 and 4. So that's at 0, 3 and 0, 4. Well, that's pretty easy. That's not bad at all. That's just gonna, that 0 doesn't change really. That be still to stay 0. So that we're not getting negatives on those zeros, but we are going to just kind of swap with the other number. So this becomes 3, 0 and 4, 0. Now this is kind of weird. So 3, 0 and 4, 0. So I got my 4 lines. Let's see if I can go from there to there to there to there. Excellent. So here's, kind of our lines that we're looking at. And it's got this rotating 90 degrees. And this is a different type of negative than the last one. So here, these middle numbers were just copies, while the outside numbers, they were copies, but they also changed sign. Plus went to minus, or minus went to plus. So plus went to minus, or minus went to plus, kind of thing. We swapped around that. But the middle ones, those just kind of stay the same. So it's like you copy the y over to the x, and then the x, but negative to the y. And you couldn't tell with the zeros, but you could tell with these. 3 went to negative 3. 3 went to negative 3. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead and pause and see what's coming up on the next. All right, for these next ones, you're really just going to be looking at what kind of rotation, the type of rotation. So the general idea here is it's either going to be 90 degrees clockwise, this way, or 90 degrees counterclockwise, this way, or 180 degrees, and it doesn't matter counterclockwise or clockwise because it's the same. So we got to figure out which one of those it is. All right, so let's look at some of these numbers. First, we got this S going to this S kind of thing. So it's like we start here and then go to there. And then we got this Z going over to this Z there. So here's kind of what I see. I kind of think it feels like it's rotating this way. So here's what I would do. I see my E prime and my E here. And so I start E and I'm pointing up. And then I'm going to spin, and after I finish spinning, now I'm pointing left. So if I went from up to left like this, that's a 90-degree rotation, and it's counterclockwise. So there's my answer, 90 degrees counterclockwise. That was easy. It's almost easier to identify the rotations than it is the other ones. Let's check this one out. So again, and here's an easy way to look at it. So we're pointing up, and then we're pointing right, and we start up, and we finish right, which means we start here and rotate there. That's 90 degrees clockwise. So easy to see this stuff. All right, let's take a look at some other ones a little bit further down, because we'll see some key differences in these. So in these ones, like 71, 72, 73, 74, they're very similar in that, look at this. It's like one is kind of facing down here. The other one's kind of facing up. And that's like opposite directions. Another way of saying like moving the opposite direction is 180-degree rotation. That's really interesting. Look at number 73. It's got like one pointing right and one pointing left. I don't even care which one was first because it's still a 180-degree rotation. Now, there is another detail in here that we should say, and that's around the center. So we're going to say around the origin, around 0, 0, which is also known as AKA the origin. There we go. So when we're spinning around that origin. All right, so that's it for this video, and go back and check it out again. It's always good to see it more than once.